vote on a
So it's not really the collective, it's the tribe, right?
But
like, oh my God, it's like just the least satisfying. This is so cringe. It's so many word games, so many false semantic distinctions, so many like sophistic, that's not a word, sophist arguments, like, ugh.
In this video, Destiny plays a clip of Andrew Wilson, his arch nemesis, debating a feminist. Destiny, of course, criticizes Andrew Wilson over and over, but ultimately just comes across as salty. With that, let's watch Andrew Wilson trigger notorious cuck Destiny.
Yeah, I'm with you. So individuals already don't really have very much power just because they can vote, right?
Sure.
So isn't it the case actually that what you're advocating for is political tribalism? Because you don't have individual power as a voter, you actually have to tribalize with other voters in order to have any sort of collective power, right?
Well, you're taking away power from all the voters.
Well,
so
can
it
you answer my question, please? Tribalism, the idea that you as the individual do not have power, right?
Yes.
You do.
It's so boring when you get like a philosophy like debate bro who doesn't want to actually have like a good faith conversation. Like all of these, like, it says something about you, I think, if every single time you come away from a conversation, everybody feels like blue-balled or unsatisfied. Or maybe it's just me and I'm not understanding. I don't know. That's a every time I feel like I listen to Andrew debate, overwhelmingly I come away as like, I feel like nothing even, I don't even know what the fuck we about. Like, it just feels like super unsatisfying. And I feel like a lot of his conversations are like that, basically.
We have to collectivize with other people, right?
Okay, but how is taking away
can you
a
answer
vote?
yes or no?
No.
Yeah, okay, no?
But
okay.
here's my question: how is taking away more people's votes disincentivizing political tribalism?
Yes,
because now I have to band with someone. Because now I have to band with someone who has a vote. I don't even get a stake. So you're saying because people don't have enough power to vote, I'm going to take what little power they do have.
You're not answering my question, though.
It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, but you got to answer my question.
It just doesn't sound like you believe in.
It sounds like you need to
democracy.
answer my question, though.
It sounds like your question is meant to trap me because your argument
can you
is
just
riddled with
answer the
logical
question,
fallacies.
please? What's fallacious about my argument?
You're saying that people do not have a stake in this country, therefore they do not have a right to vote.
It's not what I said.
Yes,
What you're doing.
That's actually almost exactly what he said. You said that because I think that was actually his sole basis for removing people's rights to vote is that not everybody has a stake. And he gave examples of different stakes you could have in society. He said men go off to war or perform jobs that women don't have to perform. And that some people, and that it should be restricted even amongst men because some people get more back than they pay in, and therefore they don't have a stake, and because of that, they don't have the right to vote. You might have other arguments, but that literally is the one that you presented. So I don't know why you're saying now that that wasn't your argument.
What's fallacious about my argument?
You're saying that people do not have a stake in this country, therefore they do not have a right to vote.
It's not what I said.
Yes,
what you're doing is a straw man fallacy.
Can we go back to
yeah,
what
you
he
can
said?
go.
Oh my God, and you brought out the fallacy word.
You can go back.
Can
What
we
I
go
said
back
to you
to that?
specifically is what you're saying doesn't logically follow. And when I'm talking about...
He's changing the argument now. What she's saying, she hasn't built a positive argument for herself, sure, but you're the one that gave your position, and it's not surviving a critique from her, and now you're challenging her to justify her position. She doesn't have to yet. She was just critiquing yours.
Political tribalism. Do you agree with me that you do, if you need to have collectives to have actual political power, are you not promoting political tribalism?
If you need to have but that's how voting works. It's about a majority.
So then you are promoting collective political tribalism.
I know for a fact that Destiny has no ability to self-reflect or look inward because I've seen Destiny and Andrew Wilson debate a lot, and Andrew Wilson, in what I've watched, just crushes him. And I think Andrew's a really good debater, so I don't understand Destiny saying, oh, he's going to bring philosophy into it. Like, what? I don't understand how that's a criticism. You do this all the time, Destiny. Someone just says a sentence, you're like, oh, he's doing this. Okay, just because it's maybe not how you debate or a tool you use. I mean, it's important sometimes to explain some of the basis that help you form your opinion on the subject so the other person can understand where you're coming from and give you the best possible response. So I don't know what Destiny's talking about. I haven't even seen this video, but I bet multiple more times Andrew's going to say something. He's going to stop it and be like, why did he? And start criticizing him. But it will be over something innocuous. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Tribalism, right?
So voting and then the will of the majority is essentially political tribalism, is what you're saying?
Well, it's not really the will of the majority. Here's what happens. No, not really.
Do you understand how voting works?
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, well then tell me how it's the will of the majority when a California legislator gets elected.
Well, everyone who would like to vote can vote, and then whoever gets the most
What about the
votes
people in Georgia?
wins. Well, why would a person in Georgia get to vote on a
So it's not really the collective, it's the tribe, right?
But
Like, oh my God, it's like just the least satisfying. This is so cringe. It's so many word games, so many false semantic distinctions, so many like sophistic, that's not a word, sophist arguments, like, ugh.
then Georgians get to vote for their
Right,
state
so it's a
legislator.
tribe then?
And then all of those legislators come together.
So it's a
to create
tribe.
laws.
So it's a tribe?
It's not a tribe, but those are called states.
Yeah,
That's what
states are voting for their own interests, right?
But states will vote.
So the states are is everything a tribe then? Like, what a reductive word. Okay.
for the governors.
Yeah.
Why would I get to vote for the governor? Hold on, pause.
hold on.
Listen to me. Why would I get to vote for the governor of, let's say, Tennessee if I don't live in Tennessee?
Makes sense.
Okay.
So it's almost
Then
like these
would-
individual states, right? They vote along tribal lines for that state's particular interests, right?
Yes, and
They're
then
not-
each state has a representative
right,
in
which
the
they said?
collective government.
Sure, in the federal government, right? You're talking about in our Senate and in our Congress, right?
Yes.
Great. So let's start with this. If it is the case that you have California and Nevada, these are two states which are next to each other, you agree, right?
Yes.
Can these states vote against each other's interests when it comes to resources?
In the federal government, yes.
No, even at the state level they can, right?
Why would they be able to at the state level? I can't vote for the Nevada governor. I can't vote for...
Because perhaps there's something
Nevada
that perhaps Nevada has some type of, I don't know, assessed a tax or something like this.
Oh, fuck. I don't know what our government background is, but I'm pretty sure that the area that Andrew is about to broach, I think is a super big no-no, right? Like in the United States of America, aren't states like almost explicitly prohibited from ever doing any type of interstate commerce where you are regulating against the ability of another state to practice some kind of economic thing? I feel like you're super mega not allowed to do this. I guess I could be wrong, but I don't know why I'm saying I could be wrong. No, you can't prefer like we only buy from Missouri companies here. You would get like this is explicitly and literally within the domain of the federal government of the U.S. Congress
that they're able to collect, which disproportionately affects Californians in some way. They can do that, right?
No.
What law is that?
Whatever it would be, they
So
can do it.
does it exist or does it not exist?
Listen, can they do that? Can they do that is my question.
Can Nevada legislate against California?
No, they're not legislating against. Listen to my question. Actually, I want you to repeat my question so I know you actually heard it.
I'm sorry, I'm not a dog. I
Can
don't
you repeat it? Well,
No.
it's called steel manning a position.
Just say the question.
Okay. Can states vote against other states' interests simply by having a neighboring state, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say, for instance, that you were to have like, oh, I don't know,
If you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
trucks which went between Nevada and California, right?
Yes.
And California took advantage of this by raising taxes on gasoline, but only on the border areas where these goods came in. This disproportionately hurts Nevada truckers for some reason, right? They can do that, right?
Yes, they can do that.
Okay, great. So in California,
I feel like a state might even be able to sue another state if you were caught doing stuff like that. Like if that was the reason why, but I don't know how that.
if that was beneficial to Californians, they would basically be voting for their tribe against Nevada, right?
But is that happening?
It
Or are
does
you
happen.
just trying to use a hypothetical?
No, there's tons and tons of instances where different states do various things, even asking for federal money in overages compared to other states for different
That's a different thing, though. You're petitioning the federal government is different than what you're talking about for this. But
problems. Same thing with disaster support. They definitely are all trying to support their tribe, right?
Okay, so because states can potentially, hypothetically, vote against another state's interest, men and women should not have the right
No,
to vote.
that's not the conclusion.
you should also, I think there's also something to be said for, it's that one, is it the clown mirror? We named one of these like debate things where every single time, Andrew runs into this so much, where every single time you try to summarize your interlocutor's position or you try to summarize what they're saying, you can't do it. You could argue, and in some cases it might just be the person's legitimately just not listening, but if you find that when you're arguing with people, people can never summarize your position back to you ever, then you're failing to communicate, or you're just dodging any type of summarizing of your position because you think that if they can summarize it, and this does happen emotionally, you think that if they can summarize my position, they probably have an argument against it, so then you just ignore or you deny all summaries of your positions.
But that was your argument.
No,
the privilege
that's-
is,
no, we're-
you
again,
stated,
do you know what a
no voting,
descriptor
both
is?
sexes,
What's a
one marriage voting system.
Why don't you understand the difference between a descriptor and prescriptor? What did I prescribe?
What you prescribed is
When Andrew was talking about a state voting in their interests, that may be at the expense of another state. Destiny popped in and said how this is a terrible road to go down, but he was kind of talking about a specific matter that might be between states. He didn't even know where Andrew was going yet. I mean, think about it. States that border one another especially might in certain areas have competing interests. And if one state votes something in, it might take a resource or just affect another state, a bordering state negatively. So of course, in your state, you're going to be voting for the best interest of your state. That's what he's talking about, tribalism. If a state is petitioning for more federal money and the money has already been budgeted to the 50 states, then if that state receives the money from the federal government, it's taking away from another state, right? So you're betting in your state or your tribe's best interest at the expense of another state. It's not a hard concept to understand, Destiny. Let's wrap up video.
one voting system. Is a voting system in which both men and women are disenfranchised.
Yeah, what I'm doing right now is I'm giving you descriptors so we can determine if it's tribalism or not, because you said it's not tribalism to have collectivism in voting blocks, which is insane.
But what you haven't been able to answer is why disenfranchising more voters is somehow solving political tribalism.
Let her get to the end
All
of the
right.
sentence, please.
Well, let me explain it
Sure.
the best way that I possibly can.
I hope
Your
you try.
worldview promotes political tribalism. So what happens is this. NGOs can go to our government and they can bribe them for voting blocks. And that's exactly what they do. Non-government organizations do this and lobbyists do this. And what they do is they raid the treasury from people like you and me so that they can bribe certain portions of the electorate in order to incentivize them to collectivize. That's why black people often vote as a monolith, for instance. They vote monolithically, up to 80, 90% together, especially in national elections, because they're made certain promises out of the treasury from the electorate, usually at the expense of other forms of voters. This is 100% tribalism.
So how are NGOs bribing politicians, influencing who black people as individuals choose to vote for?
How do NGOs do that?
I just don't understand.
She needs to stop fighting on like any empirical ground here, because if you grant him all of the philosophical ground, he's going to be able to dig up an example or just make one, or he doesn't even really have to justify his argument.
And how you're saying, I mean, I agree that NGOs should not be bribing and lobbyists shouldn't.
I don't think that girl is necessarily a bad debater, but I feel like neither she or Destiny fully comprehended what Andrew was trying to say. But we want to hear from you. What did you guys think about this clip? Let us know in the comments. Anyway, as always, really appreciate you watching, and we will see you in the next one.